Hello. Well, here we are. It's February 12th, midweek. It's a Wednesday. And I'm cruising across the internet. And I got to say, I have never seen one faction of the American people be as angry as the left seems to be today. I mean, they're talking everything from impeachment to you know regular taking over the government. The left, the liberal, the I don't know what you want to call them, the Democratic Party is up in arms, and they have their major focal point is Trump, and they're they're fit to be tied. We've had them demanding entrance into federal buildings. They've been telling people to march in the streets. They've been telling you've got different agencies that are saying they're not going to comply with Trump's Trump's agenda. And I mean, they've even called for his impeachment again. How'd that work for you last time? And they're really they. I have a feeling if they had their way, they'd deport Elon Musk if they thought they could. And all he's doing is shining a light on the swamp that is our capital. The Democrats have built a swamp there, and there have been some Republicans that have joined in, but it's mostly been from Woodrow Wilson on up. Every Democrat president added his, you know, bucket of water to the swamp. And now Trump has come in doing exactly what he said he'd do. He said he was going to be very transparent. He said he was going to get rid of the swamp. And that's exactly what he's doing. See, the Democrats kind of made a problem for themselves because Trump was elected and that's what he was going to do then, but he got stymied by the Democrats. They started impeachment process and all that stuff, and so it kind of put a hitch in his giddy up. But then he had 4 years to sit and plan. Where are we? Because the whole plan, he was going to come back again. I mean, Trump is not someone to take a slap across the face and just stand back and say, "Okay, I'm done." No, you knew he was coming back, and he did. And he had those 4 years to sit there and say, "All right, if we're going to do this, how are we going to do it? Where are we going first? Where are we going to hit him first?" And in order to clean out the swamp, he had to go right at the heart of the spending. And that's exactly where he went. He came up with the Department of Government Efficiency, and he said, "All right, this is going to be our tool, and we are going to go in and give the American government an audit." Nobody had ever thought of that before. Well, they thought of it, but no one had the wherewithal to do it. Trump came in after those 4 years and said, "Let's rock and roll." And he's moving through the government, and the left is apoplectic. And he's moving so fast that they have no way to keep up with him. They're backpedaling, and they are reeling because, I mean, he's only been in office for 3 weeks. Trump has done more for the American people in 3 weeks than Biden even dreamed of doing in 3 years. And all he's doing is exactly what he said he was going to do. He ran on a platform of cleaning out government, getting rid of the corruption. And then he got elected, and that's what he's been doing for the last 3 weeks. And on top of it, even Democrats, the regular voting Democrat, is saying, yeah, he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Trump, 53% of the American population says Trump is doing a good job and he should keep doing it. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He is, believe it or not, we have a politician that's keeping his promises. We haven't seen that since the early part of the Republican Party. One of the things that's coming up, Trump wants to take a look at kickbacks to the Congress. Now, right now, Doge has gone into USAID, and Trump even said, well, next thing I'm going to tell him is probably look at Department of Education. And one after that, he says, we're going to look at the military. But he wants to look at kickbacks that elected officials, our Congress, some members of our Congress are getting. It's hard to believe. I know the average Congress salary for a congressman is $175,000. Now, to you or me, that may seem like an astronomical amount. That I've never even dreamed of that much money. I've been at jobs. The highest I made was $36,000 a year. To say I get paid $175,000, that's average in especially corporate America, where you get these regular the VP and vice president, the president of, or the owner of a company, they may make $175,000 a year. But the ones in Congress, and none of them, they got to work a long time to get anywhere near millionaire status. It's not easy to become a millionaire in America. It's more prevalent, but it's not easy. But most of these congressmen get out of Congress after making $175,000 a year, and they're millionaires. How do they do that? Well, Part of it might be the kickbacks they get from, if there's some legislation going through Congress that has to do with pharmaceuticals. Just off the top of my head, pharmaceutical interests. They sit there and they lobby these congressmen to pass laws that are beneficial to their business, pharmaceuticals. And they say, well, we'll make this much more a year with this legislation. How about if I just sort of slip you $1 million? Well, they're already making $175,000 a year, so they don't. And most of what they spend while they're in Congress, other than elections, I mean, it's covered. They get their meals for free, and and all that stuff. So they can take that and just put it in the bank, let it collect interest. So they might have 4, 6, 12, 24 years in Congress, and all these kickbacks they can just put in the bank. So when they get out of Congress, they have multi-millions to live off of. Plus, they write a tell-all book and go on a book tour and make money off the proceeds from that. So Trump wants to look into these kickbacks, which would be a great step. I mean, there's a lot of shady stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in Washington behind closed doors, in the cellar, in the attic. Keep shining that light. Doge, Musk, Trump, keep shining that light. Show us where the swamp is. Let us drain it. Because all it's doing is poisoning the rest of America. It's like you have a septic tank and you get a leak in it. Well, you got to stop that leak, drain the tank, plug the hole. Otherwise, your whole lawn's going to be dead. And that's what we're doing right now. That's what Trump and Doge and Musk are all doing right now. Rubio, the whole cabinet, or what's there of the cabinet so far. They're still trying to drag their feet on some of Trump's appointees, but they're finding it real hard. They're just they're lollygagging right now. Congress is in no hurry right now to approve anybody because these people they're hitting the ground running. They want to get out there and do their part to clean this swamp up because it needs to be cleaned. And the left is Maxine Waters. I saw her outside the USAID or the Department of Education doors demanding to get in there. I thought she was going to have a stroke. She couldn't even put 3 words together to make a coherent sentence because she was so afraid. Oh, Trump's going to be a tyrant. He's going to be a dictator. No, he's going to be a cleaner. He's cleaning out the mess that the Democrats and Republicans have put in there. Since Woodrow Wilson on up. As far as I can see, it started with Woodrow Wilson. As soon as he started income tax, that started the swamp. That was the first bucket of water. And he had we're just starting income tax so we can pay for the Spanish-American War. Well, I guess it was before Woodrow Wilson, because the income tax started about 1913. So they needed a way to pay for the Spanish-American War. So they started income tax, and it's been a slush fund ever since. Every kind of sorted drink you would want, they pulled it out of that slush fund. And then Woodrow Wilson, well, we got to pay for World War I. So it just kept rolling. Perpetual motion machine just kept rolling. And the problem was that wheel started rolling, and nobody even looked at what they were using for grease, and it was American people. And it's just been a slow roll since. And the problem is, the Republicans, for some reason, found no reason to stop it. No one that we elected to represent us in Congress saw a reason to stop it. Even though you're crushing your own citizens, there was no reason to stop it. And I hope nothing untoward happens. I hope that Trump is allowed to do what he said he was going to do. Because Trump can't be elected again. These 4 years, he's basically done. So, in essence, he's a lame duck president. But in the past, you've seen lame duck presidents, they don't do very much. Well, Trump he's the complete opposite as a lame duck. He is coming in, and he is coming in hard. And he's just going to bowl until the pins are scattered. I'm looking forward to, the first 100 days, the first year, the second year. I'm looking forward to it. Because the things that Trump is doing right now have been needed to be done for a long time. The lying to the American people has to stop. The subjection of the American people has to stop. Let's get back to being America again. Let's stand up for the founding principles that we had. You know me, I'm a libertarian. And, I believe that the Constitution is the law of the land. We should follow the Constitution. Anything that is not contained in the Constitution is delegated to the states, and they handle it. Education, insurance, any other thing that is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution is left to the states. And the states can sort it out. And then you're basically on a market system. If one state is better at education than this state, and that's your major priority, well, you'll move to that other state. If insurance is a big issue for you, and one state has better insurance than another state, well, then you move to that state. And pretty soon, we'll start to see states with greatly disparate populations. Well, then that state will get less money in their taxes because they won't have as many residents anymore. So if they want to improve their numbers, if they want to get more money for taxes, they're going to have to up their game so that more people will move to that state. It's all a matter of supply and demand. That's what a capitalist system does. But as far as the federal government, they should defend our rights, defend our country, maintain our national infrastructure, and represent us overseas. Those are the basic things that we need our federal government for. And they do not need a $2 trillion or a $36 trillion deficit to do it. We need to cut that deficit, stop our just superfluous spending. I mean, 80% of the spending that we're doing is not needed by anybody. But you can change hearts and minds without being stupid. Just by being good, you can do that. The way our government acts is going through a very drastic rethink. And some people they're still stuck on, Orange Man bad. No. Orange Man different. If you're supposed to be so inclusive, why does that go out the window when you talk about Trump? He's got a different way of looking at things. He presents it a different way. And yeah, to a Midwesterner or to a Valley kid, he might be, I don't like this personality. Well, that's tough. That's the one he was born with. That's the one he's developed over his whole life. Get over it. But I'm coming from the Marine Corps, where we had people from all walks of life. You had people from the East Coast, from the West Coast, from Alaska, from Mexico. We had them all. I learned to look past how they said things and finding out what I didn't like about it to what they were saying. And Trump, yeah, he's a New Yorker. He talks hard. But listen to what he's saying. What he was saying was the things that we've known we've needed for years, for decades. But they didn't like the way he said it. Get over it. What he was saying rang true with a majority of the population. And he won the presidency. Now, let's get down to business and take our country back. Because we were perilously close to slipping into third world status. It'll remain to be seen whether or not we've delayed that or if we've pulled ourselves out of that. But it's good to see some of these people getting their feathers ruffled. A lot of them are congresspeople that have outlived their usefulness. they're serving in Congress as useful idiots right now. They have no way to help. They can't suggest anything to help, so they just get in the way. Clean them out. Let's get back to being America again. Let's get back to being Americans again. I'd rather be that neighbor that I'll help anybody, but if it calls for it, I'll say, you got yourself in this mess by being stupid. I'll be that neighbor. It's refreshing. Makes me feel good that we finally, some of the, it's like you get a paper cut and you put peroxide on it and it stings. Well, you don't like the pain. But boy, that paper cut heals a whole lot quicker. That's what we're going through right now. Yeah, we put peroxide on our cut and it stings like the dickens so that you feel it all the way up to your shoulder. But it will heal. We will get over it. And we will move on. It's been a long time in coming. The history student in me looks back at what we've gone through. I mean, Social Security alone has been something that has to be looked into. And I know there's a lot of people that live on Social Security, but there's a lot of people that live on Social Security that have no business even drawing from it. I know for a fact there's people that have never paid into Social Security, but boy, they're drawing from it. I've seen that in my own life because Social Security became a slush fund. In fact, it's getting to the point where there's more going out than there is coming in. I don't care where you learn finance from, but whatever school, you can't spend more than you have or more than you're making. That's stupidity. That's asking to fail. Please let me have a business so I can fail, said no business owner ever. But that's how it looks from my perspective, from this Marine's perspective. Well, I got about an hour or a minute and 10 seconds. So if you like what you hear, then I'm hoping somebody out there that I'm not just a lone voice crying in the wilderness. If you like what you hear, let me know. Give a thumbs up. If you really like what you hear, even though it might taste a little sour, subscribe. I'm planning on doing a lot more of this. And I'd really like some support. And give me some suggestions. Give me some ideas. Give me comments. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I'm doing right. I'll take both. You know, I'm always happy to have subscribers. But until next time, Semper Fi.